It's the most wonderful time of the year. Let's talk about Sandersides. Hello everyone and welcome to Working Title, the show where we talk about books, movies, and everything in between. It's spooky month! Now, I'm fully aware that technically October started last week, but I had already recorded that episode and didn't think to do Halloween-themed episodes this month until after the Am I the Asshole episode was posted, so we're starting late. So this week, we are going to be talking about the Sandersides episode, Embarrassing Phases, The Nightmare Instead of Christmas, which opens thusly.
There are few who deny at dropping lines I am the best, for my talents are denounced far and... Line?
Wide.
Wide, that's it. Well,
After the Sandersides intro, we are treated to Thomas complaining about the fact that it's the Christmas season, but he lives in Florida.
it is that time of year again. The trees got no leaves, and like a refrigerated apple, the air is crisp and cool. Except for here in Florida. But, I'm sure that it's nice in other places. I'm not jealous, I'm chill. Except I'm not. Florida!
Honestly, as someone who loves the cold, I feel that. Now, I should point out this episode was posted December 24th, but I'm counting it as a Halloween episode because, let's face it, it's a Halloween episode. After a bit longer of talking about Christmas, Virgil joins in, a little bit angry. Which, the fanders listening to this will understand. When Virgil came on, I reacted the same way Patton does whenever Virgil shows up.
Guys, I know that face. My child is returning.
After a fun little bit of Thomas trying to guess what holiday Virgil wants to celebrate...
Oh my gosh. Easter? What? No. St. Patty's Day? No. Aunt Patty's Day? No. New Year's Day?
By the time we're on the same page, maybe.
Halloween?
Yes.
Yes.
Virgil dresses like a vampire and goes to hide by the stairs. And yes, I am going to be adding a lot of audio clips from Sandersides because Thomas Sanders is funnier than I will ever be. A few seconds later, and the other sides pop up. Roman dressed as a mummy.
Better costume for me than zombie royalty.
Logan dressed as Frankenstein's monster.
I was going to be Dr. Frankenstein, but Roman said, and I quote, "That dude sounds like a grade D dork. You should be the scary monster instead. The real Frankenstein.
And Patton as a Patton version of a werewolf. I mean, did we really expect him to be something scary? After trying, and failing, to scare the others, we get at this episode's dilemma. Thomas and the sides aren't scared of Virgil anymore. Dun, dun, dun! I'm sorry.
I'm going to have to put on my fucking double-seeing glasses because I can't even begin to see the amount of bullshit coming from...
Jacksepticeye is right. I'm not sorry. But a little off topic here, I kind of want Virgil's cape that he wears in this episode. I'm a sucker for capes and cloaks, and I just think his is great. Okay, back to the episode. Virgil tries again, this time growling, and they're still not scared. On the upside, we get this fun bit.
Put your pants back on. Don't patronize me." You mean patronize? Whatever.
I'm gonna divulge a little. Could you imagine what it would be like if Logan was Thomas's anxiety? Logan is God. We must all bow to the Logan. Okay, I'll stop now.
That's a lie.
Yeah, okay, no I won't. Now, we finally get into what this episode is about. Some of the different phases that Thomas Sanders went through while he was growing up. I'm just going to kind of summarize what each phase was, how Thomas feels about it, and what was learned from it, because this episode is nearly a half hour long, and I know editing an hour's worth of footage will be exhausting. Phase number 1, Thomas's cosplay phase. A phase where Thomas made cosplays and went to conventions and things like that. Initially, Thomas feels inadequate because of how inexperienced he was at the time, so Logan brings up Erik Erikson's...
What a name!
Dang it, Patton! Theory of psychological development.
What a name!
Patton, go in the corner. I'm trying to record. Anyway, Erik Erikson's theory of psychosocial development essentially says that people mentally develop through a series of crises, the fourth of which the cosplay phase evokes is industry versus inferiority. And as Logan describes,
During this phase, one aims to gain a sense of competence when developing skills. If unsuccessful, one could develop feelings of inferiority. However, a mixture of failures and successes could lead to a more agreeable balance of competency and modesty. Oh my.
Which essentially means while a person may initially feel inferior when developing skills, a mixture of failures and successes in the long run will help keep better control of these feelings. Phase number 2, the emo phase. I don't know why I did that voice. Which I think all of us at some point have gone through at least a semblance of an emo phase. And if you haven't, you're a filthy liar. The emo phase makes Thomas slightly embarrassed, as Virgil puts it, being old enough to comprehend depressing realities, but still too young to wrap your head around why these things are happening. Which I would say is a pretty good description of what it's like to be a teenager. This also evokes Erik Erikson's stages of development, identity versus role confusion, which is essentially what all teenagers at one point go through, struggling to figure out where they belong in the world. And I think now, as our society changes and advances so quickly, that search for self-discovery is even harder than ever. This one in particular resonates with me because I'm someone who still doesn't fully understand where I fit in. Hell, I started this podcast as a way to talk about the things that I'm into and feel like I'm a part of something. Phase number 3, the Vine phase. This one is pretty self-explanatory. It's the period of time where Thomas was on Vine. This phase essentially boils down to if Thomas's Vines or even his YouTube videos are something that's remembered years from now, that would actually be pretty great. And honestly, this is another point that really resonates with me. I hope that this podcast is something that I can continue to do for a long time. And who knows, maybe sometime in the very distant future, I could actually use this show as a way to help people. Because at the end of the day, as much as I'm doing this just to get my opinions out and heard, I also hope that I can make somebody smile. If I can make at least one person's day, I'll have accomplished something. I think I'm going to end the episode here. There's some more after this, but that more ties into the overall plot of Sandercide, so I won't talk about it here. But I think Thomas puts it best when he says, I guess the takeaway from this is that phases, although sometimes embarrassing, aren't inherently artificial. They're the building blocks of the person you are now. We're constantly growing, and our experiences shape us. Embrace where you are in your life right now. Whoever you are, right this minute. You're real. Don't let anyone tell you differently. Until next time, peace out.
On to the next one, bitches!